Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into the post-game show here at EOP, and we're all excited. A big win for the Eagles, who are now 9-1. Beat Kansas City finally after four attempts. They finally get themselves in the win column against their old coach. Brother versus brother. There's so many scenarios that went into tonight. Luckily, Taylor Swift wasn't that big of a conversation as much as I thought it would be on the broadcast. But we don't got. There's only one Swift we're going to talk about tonight, and that's DeAndre Swift, and so much more going on. Welcome in, guys. I have not the prettiest dais, but a dais nonetheless here to go through our post game show. We're gonna walk through it. We want your comments, your reactions, your input, everything from it. We're gonna go along with you in this awesome victory, 21-17. Eagles win. They now move on to 9-1. Chiefs move down to 7-3, and on the ramifications of not just this win, but moving forward, going ahead. I'm here with Matty B. What's going on, Matty?
Hello. How are you, Al? Gentlemen, what's going on?
All right. Ryan Reese, I know you get a couple pants changes during the this game. I'm sure he's on his third pair of pants, as we all are. Ryan, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I started actually watching this game outside and did a little thing with the neighbors, a little tailgate action, moved inside, and hey, win's a win's a win. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, newcomer to the post-game show here, right there. First time, Joey Wood. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, it's definitely my first time. Appreciate you guys having me on. Like Ryan said, the win's a win, right? In college football, you don't need style points.
Yeah, listen, you can. It's Philly. We're going to pick apart everything we do, win, lose, or draw. It does not matter. And there is a lot of things to pick apart here, but in the long run, a win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Put the rematch stuff behind you guys for a moment, because I really, winning the Super Bowl versus winning a regular season game to me are completely different things. But it's nice to see that there was no give up in this team, because it felt that way for a little bit, that this was just going to get out of hand. Let's jump on some of these comments, and then we'll get into some reactions here. Let's start with our boy Dibes. Beyond happy with this win. The Eagles are flying, but my goodness, can we punt Brian Johnson to the sun? Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. That's on my list here of do. Daniel Berry, what's going on, bud? Go Eagles, he says. Justin Paul, the Eagles cheated. Okay, sure. Someone tell the KC fans to shake it off. There we go.
That's a great comment.
Quentin with probably the comment of the night, just about 4 or 5 in. I got to give Quentin some credit on that one.
Boy.
Oh, geez. 9-1, that's right. 9-1, be happy about it. Chief wide receivers couldn't even catch COVID.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a problem. You heard it on the broadcast quite a few times. The Chiefs have to deal with a lot of the dropsies. I mean, listen, the Chiefs have not been perfect in any which way, and that's why I kept telling people, don't expect a blowout in any. I didn't expect a blowout on either side. This actually kind of played out the way I thought it would. Maybe a little sloppier in some areas than I expected it to, but we'll break that down in a moment. Chiefs wide receivers and footballs. I knew you were trouble. He's done miracles on me, Kanye West. Pat Bernard, dogfight is where the Eagles win. Yeah, let's F him go right there, brother. It's all it's about. Hey, listen, it's all I said. Wins are like sex and pizza. Even when they're bad, they're good. Okay, when you're getting it, you're getting. You're happy no matter how you get it. Sometimes. Oh my word, we did it. That's right, Jeff. We did it. Now listen, what we did is we won a regular season game, but like I said, we're at one point in this conversation, we are going to talk about the ramifications moving forward, but we're going to mainly focus in on tonight's game over the Chiefs and a couple more, and I'll get to you guys. We came back from behind. I mean, we only led for what? Not even a full quarter of the game. So there you go. Big one for the Eagles tonight. I love good pizza. Hell yeah, I know you do, Pat. We did not allow them to score in the second half. That's where I'm going to get into, is the defense. So let's jump into that before we get to more comments, guys. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that this is brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com. That's right. They're there right now. They brought hundreds of Eagles fans to Kansas City, had a great time, great pre-games, the whole 9 yards. And then, of course, they were there to help cheer them on, because you heard those cheers when the Eagles were doing well. And a good chunk of them were from PhillySportsTrips.com. The Dallas trips the next come up, but guys, you waited way too long. They sold out. The next trip away is the Seattle trip. It is still available. Get them while they're hot. Great Christmas presents or presents coming up. The holiday season's upon you. Also, don't forget a lot of other trips all around local, as well as the live casino tailgates for the home game. So check it all out. PhillySportsTrips.com, and Hollis Thomas will be there at this one in Seattle. So check it out. So, guys, let's get into it. I'm going to go a little out of sorts here. So let's talk about the O-line for a second, because if you look at my tweets before in the first half versus the second half, it was like two different O-lines. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. What do you see? What were the changes made, and what did the Eagles O-line do in the second half that they didn't do in the first half?
Yeah, they obviously were getting pressured crazy amounts in that first half, and from everybody across that line, even to Lane Johnson, who gave up a sack, and we'll see if that officially breaks that streak, because he got away with one earlier in the year. But yeah, I mean, listen, Chris Jones was and is a problem the entire game. Chris Jones was an absolute menace. And I think they adjusted to that to focus mostly on him. And while he still got his, certainly in the second half, I feel like his power was mitigated a bit. And I think that had to be the focus, from just, from Brian Johnson and Sirianni adjusting at halftime, because Jones did whatever he wanted in the first half. Second half, he got it. He got a couple, but it was certainly a big difference for sure.
All right, Joey, I'm going to bring it to you. Speaking of Joey, our fearless leader here, with the eloquent mother F, what a win. But you talk about there's 5 sacks, Joe. 5 sacks tonight, 2 of them by Chris Jones, the other 2 by McDuffie, and one of them, I forget who the other one was off the top of my head. Carefully, that's how I always say his name. I always say his name. Yeah, whatever you say his name. So 5, the O-line let up 5, but early on, and like Ryan said, a lot of it, Chris Jones is going to get Chris Jones. I mean, this is the most evenly matched game I think we've seen this year. I think it's the most evenly matched game for the most part against 2 good teams, let me say, that the NFL's seen this year. Both teams at points had them off their game. What did you see adjustment wise in the O-line, Joey, that they did in the second half?
I think they were hitting that a little bit in the during the broadcast too, with kind of Hurts and Kelsey were kind of going at it a little bit with sliding protection, and Kelsey was kind of shaking them off. I think it was on third down when Hurts was trying to tell Kelsey to slide off it there right before they had to delay a game, and Kelsey finally gave in. But I noticed with Chris Jones out, they were moving him around, which was kind of throwing off the Eagles on the line with moving Chris Jones around. The sack, like you said, with Lane Johnson, they moved him to the outside. They had him inside the very next play. I think accounting for Chris Jones in the second half, making that their focal point, really helped change the game. But I think we constantly want to talk about what the coaching is doing wrong. I think the adjustment that the offense made going into that second half was huge for the line, and I think we should give them credit this game, something that us Philly fans don't typically do when we say, okay, coaching was actually good that second half. I think we've seen that today.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Think about it, because a lot of people, we've seen a bunch of comments already. Some of them saying Brian Johnson is play calling is trash. But if the offensive line makes adjustments, do you have to give him the credit that, or is that all Stoutland? I'll go with you, Ryan, on this one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. Yeah.
That's all right.
No. I think it's a combination, honestly. I feel like the Eagles coaching staff really does work pretty seamlessly within each other, position to position, coordinator, head coach. What I've witnessed is that they all seem to be on the same page. And yeah, it was a concerted effort to mitigate Chris Jones and his impact. And you could definitely tell that they definitely had Hurts a few more seconds to kind of get the ball out. And listen, he maybe had like 60, 70 yards in that first half. Didn't really end up with a lot, but we all kind of knew this was going to be a ground game. And listen, hats off to Swift, not only on the ground, but some of the short intermittent passes, the screens, really were working. And he was finding his holes. And, again, I think outside of the offensive adjustments, I think the defensive adjustments are really what we need to talk about after the first half. That defense really clamped down and shut down this high-powered offense, and really made those those receivers who we all don't know any of their names, made them beat us, and they couldn't. They kept dropping passes. So
Well,
that's off.
we talked. I talked about. I know we all talked about on our shows how the run game, especially with the weather, the way it's supposed to, it was turning out to be with the rainy sloppiness, that it would, even make it harder to pass. But the Kansas City pass defense was not, it wasn't that great coming into it. And DeAndre Swift got 6.3 yards average out of his 12 attempts. Hurts only had about 2.4 because he made some things I want to mention about that. Jalen Hurts, the RPO, was a little sluggish when he was trying to make his decision. Held on to that ball a couple times way too long, and I think that kind of caused some problems there. But the real turnaround in this game, in my eyes, and I wrote this down, is where it really turned, was that Devontae Smith pass that just put them right on the 1 yard line. And how about this, Spags? Next time, don't tell us you have a surefire way to beat the tush push, and don't beat the damn tush push. All right, man. The brotherly shove was shoved right in your face with that comment.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the turnaround, and it came from the air. And Smith, he had 99 yards, 1 yard away from a touchdown, as well as hitting 100 yards tonight. AJ Brown, he was a little different this way. He had 4 targets, 1 reception, 8 yards. We got lucky in some way. Both teams got lucky in some ways. I'm not going to sit here and say, I know some comments have flown in about the refs, which, believe me, there were some questionable calls on both sides. I'm not just saying on the Eagles versus the Chiefs had more or not, but that Scantlin, that drop, that's a touchdown. That is a touchdown. I mean, they had the mismatch they wanted. He dropped that down. That is sometimes where the game is. You get a little lucky at times. But also, we're talking about all these guys. Travis Kelce, he was very pedestrian tonight too. So, they tried shutting down our big weapon and did so for the most part. And we tried shutting down their big weapon, and he had a huge turnover, which also probably cost him at least 3 points, probably 7 points. So, so anybody looks at this game and just says, oh, they got sloppy or they got lucky or they stole the game. There's no stealing. This is what happens when two big, heavyweights go at each other. You're going to have some big swings, and you might even have some big misses in that case. But ultimately, coming out of Arrowhead with a W.
After a bye with Andy Reid, who's 21.
Yeah, Andy Reid's bye week numbers. I mean, it had everybody. I mean, they were only 2.5 favorites coming into this game, I believe. But it's listen, it's okay to be excited, guys. I always feel like I have to say this with a win, like not you two, because I know you two are, but like the people. Let's go through the crowd here for a second. Let's rummage some of these comments. Mike Laro, it's the wife's B-day and she bet the birds and wins. There you go. I'm getting glad the Dallas fans will not sleep well tonight. That's right, Anthony. That's got to burn. Hello. Jergens was very, very, very rusty, and the KC defense was not. I'm not going to sit there and say Jergens was, and I'll get into that in a second, because what they were doing is they were being smart. I think in the beginning they made the adjustments because they were bringing guys, they were stunting guys like linebackers behind the D-line and opening up, and they were getting the matchups. They're having like DeAndre Swift block Snead at one point. I mean, like they were trying to do a lot of misdirection like they do on offense. They were doing the same thing on defense, and it was working. Give them credit where credit was due. It was absolutely working, but they got smart to it. Jalen had some absolutely after RPO reads, I guess.
I think it might say awful.
But we'll find out. Let Steve answer the rest of that. Travis Kelce and the Chiefs offense hit a blank space.
That's the only one that's the only Taylor Swift reference I get.
Yeah. And like, let's put that, like, did anybody really come into this game thinking it wasn't going to be some sort of like bigger shootout? Maybe a little rust in the beginning because both teams coming off a bye week, but ultimately in the end going back and forth.
Yeah, I thought the scores would have been a little bit higher. I believe on the pregame show I predicted a 31-30 victory, but yeah, I definitely thought I didn't think defense was going to be that big of a factor. And honestly, right now looking back at this game, the Eagles' second half defense is exactly what won this game. They were able to stop, Mahomes and Kelsey and Watson, who while he had a couple of drops, obviously had the touchdown, had a couple of nice grabs, and Rasheed Rice was slowly but surely doing his thing. And yeah, it honestly, the defense really clamped down, and that's, I think, what ultimately won this game.
Yeah.
How about you, Joey?
Yeah, I don't know if this is just a homer in me or what, but I feel like the second half defense might be closer to what we see going forward. You got Byard, who has only been here less than a month, and we had Roby, who was out for the past, I think, 4 weeks at this point. We're finally getting all the pieces back and finally putting them into place. And I feel like we see in the second half a little more where guys are where they're supposed to be. You had Byard playing a lot more man on Kelsey and affecting him in that passing game. So to me, I don't know if it's a homer or I'm hoping, but I feel like the second half defense is closer to the defense that we can expect the Eagles going forward.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I keep telling everybody this, like, I don't know what people expect from going forward and all this season. Like, I just don't get it. Like, everybody's, oh well, the Eagle, it wasn't pretty. They're not going to have pretty wins. They're just not going to have pretty wins. It's like, get over it. Like, I don't understand why that's such
season.
Yeah.
I mean, people know what you can do now. Let's be honest. Jalen Hurts his mobility looked a lot better tonight. Give him credit there. Note that. But for this whole season so far, no, he hasn't been mobile. He's been more of a pocket passer, which, let's be honest, is a huge push forward for him. But there is a lot of things that people like. I just get over the fact that it's not pretty. I don't need pretty wins. I just need wins. And I think somebody like Dive said it earlier in the chats. It'd be real pretty when we're sitting around round one, collecting ourselves when everybody else is beating themselves up. So it'll be interesting to see. Travis Kelce was straight up piss awful bad.
Wow.
If this was hockey, he would be the Eagles' third.
Well, listen, Taylor wasn't there, so obviously the stats go down. So
yeah,
Al, I was going to say, Al, you were saying it perfectly. I think everybody, is so used to what happened last year. Yeah. We dominated. We were running through the NFL, honestly. And people just kind of want to see that continue. And guess what? That's just not this team this year. And I think people just got to realize that, hey, listen, we're still winning games. We have a better record, or the same record, right? A 9-1. We were 9-1 last year.
Yeah.
Same record. Who cares how it happens? I don't care if we win every game by 1 point and it's a Jake Elliott 70-yard field goal every single week. I mean, I'd probably have a couple of heart attacks by now, but
oh yeah, I'm already on 2 different heart attacks now. Like,
I've already had a couple, but I don't care how it happens. They don't ask how. They just know when you win. And we're 9-1. We are the best team in the NFC. We are the best team in the NFL. We beat the so-called best team in the AFC. And listen, we got a couple of nice games coming up. And if we can continue this run, what national media pundit is going to come and knock us down? Yeah. Because they're going to try. That's
the other thing. That's why it's difficult, because everybody's trying. Listen, we're getting everybody's best for the most part. Yeah. And I'm not just saying it's not cliche stuff, but it's true. Everybody, even if you're the worst team in the league or the best team in the league, you want to say, can we hold our own? Like, the Jets were celebrating like they won the Super Bowl when they beat us. Okay. They celebrated like that. And I think Dives is going for the most. I think because ESPN had very little Swift comments, I think he's trying to hit the record on EOP.
The fact that Dives knows too many references is a little concerning.
Are we up to 5 from him so far?
Yeah, I
think it's at least 5. Even if Stanley catches that, there's plenty of time for the drive. That's true, Steve. I mean, there's no point that the game is over, but definitely changes the direction of that game a little bit.
But the saying goes, good teams find a way to win, and even when you don't have your best stuff. And that's what it all comes down to. This team is built to win, and regardless of how bad they play in the first half, they always seem to find a way to pull it out. So, you can't complain when you're getting wins.
No, I mean, that's a great point, honestly. Great teams do find a way to win. And we have won some games, let's be honest. that I don't think we deserved necessarily to win, or we all thought that we were going to win, but we pulled it out. And that's exactly just the absolute MO of great teams. And I will say, I want to kind of comment on this. Can I just say that last punt by Mann was so crucial. And also, can I say the punt return game was absolutely
Who would have thought? Brayton Covey.
Right.
Yeah.
He averaged 18 yards per return. That's like unheard of in Philadelphia Eagles like history. My God.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, yeah, Mann had a couple of muffs. And Tony, my God, might be the most annoying player I've ever witnessed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He gives a 10-yard punt return. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, they were juiced up. I'll give him credit. But did you hear? You didn't see it, but you could hear during the broadcast. There was one point when the Eagles were driving. I think it was the drive where they scored the last touchdown. You could hear Jason Kelce just like a freight train from hell. Oh yeah, chow, chow. Like he's just going. You can hear him, and you know it's his voice because it's very particular voice.
Very distinctive, yeah.
Yeah. But guys, I want to remind you guys that there's a lot. The next couple games coming up are home games. And if you're looking for that ticket, it's hard to come by. I go to sherrystickets.com. We go to sherrystickets.com. You should go to sherrystickets.com. Use it. I don't care if you're local or not. Any sports, concert, theater, you name it. You go to sherrystickets.com. The price you see on the screen is the price you'll pay. There is no hidden fees, and you save yourself an additional 10% off by using that great promo code EOP10. That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Use them often, use them frequently. And again, EOP10 for 10% off at sherrystickets.com.
And Al, I think you mentioned about the national media were trying to tear us down. Of course, the headline from ESPN currently going out is Scanley's brutal drop leads to the Chiefs' loss, which is just an absolute awful headline to have. But an unsung hero who made one play today, who I would absolutely want to give credit to, is Job on that punt. Everyone's
great tackle,
swinging and missing at Tony all night, and Job come there and just shut him down instantly. I love that play.
Absolutely. Great point. That really put them, back by around the 10, 11-yard line and made it real difficult for the Chiefs to come back and do anything with it. Yeah, actually, great point. Let's hit a couple more of these here. Let's not mince words. O-line had its worst second quarter probably since the pandemic. They were getting beat because, like I said, they were disguising the pressure. They were coming behind them. They were coming off. They were opening up gaps and then shooting guys in. You even saw that when they were I think it was like 4th and 2 or 1 for the Chiefs. They double teamed Jordan Davis, took him off his legs enough for Pacheco or somebody to dive in through there. I mean, they knew what they were doing. I mean, they knew what they were doing. They were disguising on the O-line and the D-line. And they were doing a good job for the most part, and the Eagles adjusted. Again, you have to give Brian Johnson a little credit because, he's doing the play calling as well. So we'll figure that. We'll discuss that as time goes on. Rock's, is it the Rock or just Rock? I don't care what anybody says. The Birds went in there, won by any means necessary, and there'll still be haters, but they are 9-1. Go Birds, go Birds, baby. Yeah, I mean, we talked about last year, and what was it? The Tennessee game. The Eagles have to go against the Titans. Oh, the Titans. All we heard about is how the Titans were going to just dismantle us. Last time I checked, we destroyed them in that game.
Yeah.
And what did we also hear last year, Ryan? We heard all about how the Eagles didn't play anybody good. The Eagles didn't do anything good at all. Not at all. Well, guess what? The Eagles have had a real stiff competition, and every time it's come up, and listen, this is what's going to happen. It's going to I expected a slobber knocker. It was a little not mistakes happy as I thought this teams would be coming off a bye, but good teams can frazzle you. And when you get frazzled, you make mistakes. That's how I look at it. Let's see. Ron saying, I'm glad Mahomes can't waddle into the locker room knowing we shut his crybaby ass out. To be fair, Hurts was putting his head down way too quickly and holding on to the ball way too long in the first half. But my goodness, I haven't seen this O-line get this exposed in a while.
But to that comment too, and I think ESPN even touched on it, the one play on third down when you had Smith streaking down the field on that route, he absolutely missed them, and then you had a little dump off pass. But yeah, Hurts tonight overall, he made the plays when you had to. That's all that matters at the end of the game.
True.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Steven's right. They don't put the word ugly next to the anywhere, Super Bowl or not, anywhere in the win column. It just says win or loss. Even if you got hosed by an official's call or they missed a call or something, they don't. It still goes down to W. I mean, you can get caught cheating in the MLB and you still become a champion.
Yeah,
So
Or you have a bull
right.
crap, or you went on a bull crap holding call.
yeah,
Yeah.
things
Listen,
like that happen.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And listen, who would have thought if you were to tell me before this game that Mahomes and Hurts would combine for less than 325
Mm.
passing yards, I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. Even with
Yeah.
the weather, even
Yeah.
with the weather, it's absolutely insane the stat lines that you're going to look through on this game. And listen, the Eagles just outlasted the Chiefs. Plain and simple. They shut them down when they needed to shut them down. They got they got opportunities, and they took advantage of them. And they got a couple of turnovers right when we needed them. That obviously that missed catch, by who is it? Valdez Scantling or
Yeah.
one of those no-name wide receivers they have. And listen, we took advantage of that. And plain and simple, that's what good teams do, and that's why we won this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who knows, AJ Brown happy with the win or pissed about his production? We're not going there right now. But let me ask this question. Let's go back to that play where AJ Brown, where Jalen Hurts was picked, and AJ Brown looked like he recovered the ball. I mean, just a brush of the shin, they considered him down. But give AJ Brown, who would have thought that you'd be reviewing a play to see if Snead caught the ball and AJ Brown punched out for the fumble? But I mean, I
have a question for you on that play. Was that a bad throw by Hurts or just miscommunication between Brown and Hurts? Because it looks like Hurts threw the ball where the route was supposed to be, but Brown wanted to extend that route deep because he had him beat so bad. So that to me, I was wondering during the game, was that a bad throw or was that just miscommunication there?
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, the way I looked at it, I think it was a bit of a miscommunication. I think the original route was to cut in a little bit, and obviously, Brown saw something and had it, and absolutely had it. And if I guess Hurts just didn't see it in time, threw the ball where the route should have been instead of bombing it deeper. And listen, it absolutely happens, but. Heads up play for Brown, again, that to me means a lot to me because that means, he wasn't quitting. He wasn't pouting. He was getting that ball and he got that ball. And if it wasn't for some BS touch of the shin, that ball should have been ours. And
again,
heads up play, that means a lot to me, the character of AJ Brown. And everybody wants to paint him as a diva. Crying. And listen, there was that scene. You all saw it. Him and Smith and Hurts were all right there, and Brown was yelling at Smith or Hurts or whoever he was yelling at. And I'm sure they're gonna paint that narrative of.
I never understood that whole scenario to that point where people got so into it. How many times you see a quarterback yelling at a lineman for missing a block or
Manning did
a
it
running back
time.
for not picking up a block or something?
Or Tom Brady getting in someone's face.
Yeah, Brady, Manning, all of those quarterbacks always yelled at their offensive line, in their face. And because a wide receiver does it's a whole thing. It's oh my God, he's T.O. Oh my God, he's Chad Johnson,
I feel like people gotta forget the aspect too that Hurts and AJ aren't just a typical wide receiver duo. They're best friends off the field. These guys know how to communicate in different ways. And I think people forget that sometimes too.
And listen, we all have friends that we've been friends with for years. I mean, I have friends that I've been friends with 30 years. And let me tell you, we get into fights. We yell at each other.
Call each other morons if you do something stupid. I mean, it happens.
Exactly.
Morons, because you have that ability to do so. If I'm a total stranger and I go up to you and go, "You moron," you're gonna get pissed at it.
Right. Exactly. And I listen. I have a friend. We've probably punched each other in the face about 10 times each. But guess what? We always find a way back, and we're always good. And he's one of my best friends. And that's just the way it happens. And listen, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts have been friends for a long time. And sometimes they might
Aren't they
find
godfathers to each other? I think for one of their kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they've been through so many events, personal events with each other. So listen, I do not care what happens. If they fight, they argue, and it's out there.
It's
and the
like they
media
want
wants to take
another
it.
TO situation.
Yeah,
Feel like
exactly.
they're
It's
it's like
not going
it's
there.
the
It is
media who
not
wants
going
it
there.
more than anything. Let's be honest. Crawford was troll
Exactly.
him Chiefs. Yeah, Franny's saying probably already talked about beating Reed off the bye week is insanely impressive. I mean, that's the thing. I kind of wrote this down real quick and let me go through this with you guys. The storylines that kind of came into this one. Of course, it was the Jason Kelsey versus Travis Kelsey part 2, after the Super Bowl rematch, Andy Reid versus his old team. I mean, people even tried to sell the because Sirianni coached in KC for like a month or two before Andy
Right.
Reid came in and Andy Reid fired him. The Taylor Swift versus and DeAndre Swift situation, the Swift things coming out the woodwork. The bye week.
There was also going to be a storyline of the parents meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
They're not.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like you have Andy Reid again, who's like, I think it was like 27-4 or whatever coming in to this week, like off the bye week. And that's in the that's in the regular season and the postseason, coming off the bye with his victories. And but there's 4 people that ended up doing it at one point. So I guess we can be the 5th one in this case. So yeah, no, but it is impressive. It's impressive. We got off the schneid of losing, broke the back of the Chiefs enough to say, hey, listen, guys, they aren't going to be a pushover. We don't have their number like sometimes you feel like a team does. New nickname for Kelsey's Chiefs, El Swizzle. He's pushing it now. He's pushing it.
Yeah, I think we all just need to tell Dives to go to bed, bro.
Yeah,
go to bed.
Hurts is definitely MVP. Let's transition there. I'm going a little out of order. I know Dives is going to yell at me tomorrow morning. But guys, MVP, player of the game right now I'll start with you, Joey Wood. Who is your player of the game tonight?
I'm going to go Devontae Smith. He had that big catch at the end of the game that set us up there on the 1-yard line. Just overall, I don't know. Hurts had too many plays. I know he made the plays when we needed him to, but again, we talked about earlier in the game, too many plays where he just put his head down after the first read and didn't do his progressions at all. So I just think for me, Devontae Smith has to be a player of the game.
How about you, Rye?
It's got to be Smith or Swift.
Okay.
I mean, the run game was back. The guy got 76 yards on the ground, a touchdown, and then he ended up with 31 yards on 3 receptions, so over 100 yards. Devontae only got 99. Just saying. But listen, Swift. I again, Cam Jurgens, Hurts being healthier. That all led to Swift having a much better game. He looked really great out there. And when we use Swift, we win games. Plain and simple.
It's very simple, but I'm gonna go Hassan Reddick on this one. It's kind of, since you guys went offense, I'll have to go with the defense on this. Hassan Reddick with the only sack for the Eagles tonight. But it was a big sack, but he brought a ton of pressure. He had 3 QB hits, a tackle for a loss, 4 combined tackles, 2 assists, 2 tackles. It's just he continued him and Josh Sweat. I gotta maybe the tandem of those two, because they both had the same exact outside the sack number. They had the same exact stats tonight. So the tandem of those two coming off the edge has just been my MVPs.
Yeah. Can I just add to the Sweat thing? Sweat already led the league in fourth quarter pressures, and man, did he turn it up in that fourth quarter. Absolutely. I mean, the play where Mahomes was running for his life and threw the ball, and they called it intentional grounding. That was all Sweat. I mean, listen, he got to him a little early. Second, third quarter, not so much. Fourth quarter, turned it back on, baby. Let's go Sweat, baby.
Yeah. Job on the punt cover. Look what you made me do. Here we go. Now we got Quentin jumping into it.
References are out of control.
Low passing yardage in this game. Not my wildest dreams. It's killing me. I was so mad at AJ Brown for trying to break off the route to begin with. Yeah, it's hard to say. My question is, we don't know if that was supposed to be the route and either was underthrown or did he change the route because of the coverage the way it was. But who do you blame? Do you blame AJ for changing it because the coverage changed the route, or do you blame Hurts? I mean, you're supposed to put the ball where you're supposed to be. That's the old saying. But
I don't think you can blame AJ because if that's a touchdown, we're all praising AJ. He saw he had him beat off the line of scrimmage, so he tried to take advantage of it.
Josh Sweat had some very positive comments about Sean Desai after the game. Per Josh Sweat, you belong with me. Gosh, kill me.
Good guys. Go to bed, bro.
No comments yet though about that awful roughing the passer call on Fletcher with a bang play in the fourth quarter. You just can't call that there.
Yeah. Well, I was in the comments with us earlier tonight. I just in real time, how do you call that? If Fletcher Cox hits Patrick Mahomes, he's going to bounce off him like that every time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
he was wide open. He was still throwing the ball. They said the 2 steps. I'm watching in slow motion. Those 2 steps they're suspect. But I guess if it went the other way around, but whatever, it ultimately didn't hurt us. But there was times we had to worry about the hurt. But both teams had to worry. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had his own interception thrown, both in the worst. In the red zone area, the worst opportune times, or close to it at least. But let's run through a couple more of these comments real quick. Rock Zone here, I'm sure will be people saying the Chiefs made, or the Chefs in this case, had missed opportunities, but the Birds shut them out in the second half. One side picks up the other. A win is a win. And Rock, you're right, absolutely right, because what's going to happen is the national media is going to sit there and say things like what Joe said earlier. Because of Scantling dropping a ball, or because of this, that the Chiefs lost. Not the Eagles won, but the Chiefs lost.
Not the fact that the Eagles also had, I think, a minute at that point. That ball was dropped. There was a minute and 20 left with 2 timeouts.
Yeah. I guess Travis Scantling was the anti-hero tonight.
It's getting so bad that I don't know 90% of these.
I don't know many. To be honest with you, I was one of those clueless a-holes who didn't know Taylor Swift was that selling out across the world, stadiums. I didn't know she was that big. I knew she was big, but I didn't think internationally selling out 100,000 people stadiums and all that.
Yeah.
But I found that out.
The references have got to stop tonight. Dives, go to bed. Q, go to bed. Yeah. All these guys got to go to bed. Come on.
Eagles fought through some plays which could have swung the narrative, but they fought through it, and I guess they fought through it is a good conversation. Because let's be honest, not one person here can say they felt really good going into the second half until they were able to stop them and slow it down, and then oh wait a minute, then that drive, and then Devontae Smith, the brotherly shove came right at it, it just turned them around. Joe Sheeran, I need therapy. Joe and I were texting back and forth. He goes, he's like, I don't even know what to do with myself.
I mean, this is, we're not talking about Eagles. This is just in general, right?
Yeah, well, in general, he does need it, but he knows that. No, but yeah.
Oh, we are.
But no, I mean, I don't think I sat for more than, halftime. I'll be honest with you. I sat down to take some more notes. I stood up with my notepad. My wife's like, why don't you sit down around? I'm like, stop telling me what to do. But I mean, this is what makes sports. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I want it this way, but no, could you imagine if every game was a 20-point plus shutout? What a boring, But I mean, listen, win a Super Bowl any which way I can get it. But no, this is what you're gonna get. This team scraps, and this team did not give up. It's got the personality, it's got the attitude. Yes, there is a ton of flaws, not a ton of, but a good amount of flaws on this team. But there's so much good about it. No team is going to be perfect in every which way on offense, defense, special teams. The best wide receiver, the best running back, the best quarterback. There's going to be up and downs on each side. It's about timing and a little bit of luck. You know what I mean? And we got lucky when Scantling didn't catch that. But here's also a guy they threw to, who's known. He's at 6 drops with 30 plus yards. They said during the in the season, 6 drops with 30 plus yard balls thrown at him. The next one closest is 4. Or actually, I don't think they said the next one doesn't even have 4. I think it's 3, they said. Let's see. AJ breaking off that route was semi-amateur hour. It's football 101. You don't assume the QB's in your head unless it's a blitz. You run the call. All right. Yeah, Steve's a good point. I mean, unless you can't expect him to know. Like he might not be looking at you. He's throwing to where he's expecting you to be, and we've seen it 1,000 times. Like how many times you sat there and you go, "Oh, who was that guy throwing to?" Well, you found out pretty quickly that was the guy ran the completely wrong route.
Right.
It's just how it worked. On the last play, Mahomes was in a huddle like, "We are never, ever, ever getting this first down."
God damn it! All right.
I don't care how
I'm
much you
gonna
beat
kill.
Snead off the line. At least it didn't cost us. Of course, we love him, but that cannot happen again. The defense MVP. The defense is the MVP of this game. Absolutely.
And,
I mean, it was
Kevin Byard. Can I just say he finally came to frickin' play today. He not only did he get the interception, you take that out of it, by the way, which was an absolute great interception. He was all over the place. He was breaking up passes. He finally felt like an actual Philadelphia Eagle. Finally tonight.
Well, I mean, yeah, that first touchdown they had was on him. For everybody was in man coverage, he wasn't, and he left somebody wide open, and they were able to take care of it. But he made up for it big time. Big time. He played that ball right. Mahomes didn't throw the perfect ball in this situation, which is not going to happen all the time, I should say. But he did. He took advantage of it, and he had a couple big plays too. I mean, there's a couple other big plays he had that could have maybe not as big, but if he didn't do what he did, it could have been a completely turning point in the game. Definitely Reddick. Yeah, Cody's saying Reddick with me. Player of the game, Sean Desai. Yeah, I mean, everybody was really on his ass for a while, but I mean, with the way we have this, yeah, Hassan, absolutely. Everybody's agreeing with me on that one. Austin, player of the game, the Eagles defense clamped down the second half, got biz stops in the final. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Big stops. Honorable mention, Valdez Scantlin. Yeah. Sweat bad penalty. No, yeah. Joe, you brought that up. There's a couple bad penalties.
2 or 3 offsides, right? Where he jumps a little bit early.
Bad. He needs to clean that shit up real quick.
Yeah. Josh Sweats had that offsides penalty that led to the Chiefs going up 14-7. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other ones in there, but that was the big one that cost us more points. How about Fletcher roughing passer at the end of the game? BS or no? Listen, the rule is 2 steps. If you make 2 steps, the ball's out of your hand. Slowing it down. I think they even said that on the on the thing. Like if you slow everything down, it looks like a penalty. Like it looks like a holding call or whatever. But in real time, I mean, how does a freight train of a human being just stop? You don't have like brakes that just stop him in midair. Like that's my point. Like I think a little bit is like how his helmet kind of went down a little bit, but I don't know. It's a little ticky tack. The Eli Ricks. There was another penalty on Eli Ricks who got called. It was a little ticky tack, kind of not unlike the Super Bowl call that gave them the win. But they're gonna call what they're gonna call, and that's why a lot of people think like having a good defense is a luxury versus a necessity, because even if you have a good defense, it can change on a drop of a dime like that. Beating teams who have a pedigree of winning and thinking they're supposed to win every time they step on the field is tough to do. Good thing for us that we have turned ourselves into a team that thinks they should win every game. That matters a lot. Yeah, and they play to win. They don't like. How many times teams look at this and they go, "All right, we're going to try to win this game, but if we're 8-2, we're doing pretty good." No, they wanted to win this game. They're not worried about the Bills. They're not worried about Dallas coming up or the Niners or anything like that. They're worried about the Chiefs. And like I said, like they got in the Chiefs' head as much but ours came in the later half of the game and theirs came in the beginning half of the game. So it's it's the way it plays out. It's a good team that's never out of it. They were never out of it, even though it felt like that, because it's just like it looked like our offense couldn't get anything. I mean, at one point there was just like, I think into the second half, into the second quarter, into the second half, if you look at it, the second half, it's 3 and out, punt. And then the Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown that started it all from there. So yeah, I mean, it got to that point. A couple more comments here. Let's see. The wind still has me in a lavender haze.
I don't even know.
He can make up stuff right now. I won't know if they're Taylor.
He's going deep.
I don't even know if Taylor Swift song, so he could make one up, and I just laugh at it, assuming it's a Taylor Swift.
Right.
I felt great after half. Super Bowl, Chiefs down 10, Eagles down 10. Now knew they had this game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I said the same thing. I said the
Yeah.
same exact thing. I was like, hey, listen, it's not bad. We're down 10. They were down 10. We could do the same exact thing. And guess what? We sure as hell did.
On the play to call of Valdez-Scantling, Mahomes should have said no. Ah, God. So Quentin, I think is usurped.
I think he's just Googling.
At this point, he's like, give me a list of all the Taylor Swift songs.
Nobody can know this many Taylor Swift songs. And if that's the case, we got a question Q on this one. Yeah. You might have a problem, bro.
Cody Ashton saying Carter trying to intercept Mahomes' spike was priceless. Yeah. Carter was trying to dive underneath the ball. Yes. I mean, you got to give that. Can we just talk about that for a moment? Can we just step back? We talk about a lot of these players, like how Jalen Hurts is so strong, but yet smart and a leader. That's great. Yeah. And how A.J. Brown is just a complete wide receiver, the O-line, all this stuff. But Jalen Carter as a human being is a freak. He's like Joel Embiid freakishness. A guy that big shouldn't be as athletic as they are. Should be a lumbering, clumsy person. But like, and like they were talking about this too. Like Andy Reid was talking about it before the game. How Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham are working at the level they are at this age, and even Jason Kelsey. I mean, had a bad second half. Talk about a guy who probably smashed his head against the locker, went there and fixed whatever was wrong, and I guarantee he was sitting there telling everybody what they were doing wrong, as well as himself. But Jalen Carter is a monster of a man, and the fact that anybody could dive under and try to make that happen. Hilarious. Just goes to show you.
Love it. Absolutely. And don't forget Lane Johnson. I mean, he's up there as well. And listen, I think he may finally get that sack accredited to him. But, man, he's had a great run. And trying to replace that is going to be a tough task because we all know the stats of when Lane Johnson isn't in the game. I mean, come on. We're not a great football team, apparently. And, replacing him is going to be tough business. And, listen, we're lucky to have him and hope that he plays another year or two here. But, yeah, I mean,
he's playing at a high level. Injuries never seem to be a real issue for him. Now, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. He could be at home for the next 48 hours. Icing everything that can be iced.
I mean, I know I'd be. I'm icing just thinking about it.
Dude, I'll tell you, in high school, and we remember our school got the first ice bath. I lived in that thing, and not just because of pain, because it felt better. But it's like a cooled my core down. But yeah, no, I remember that. I don't know about you, but this win makes me feel like I'm 22. Good night, putting myself to bed. Franny, you're old, man. That's like 30 years ago for you.
I think that was another Taylor reference.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, laugh out loud.
Guys, Ryan, we're not a good team without Lane. We are a good team. We lost to the Jets without Lane. I mean, that just shows you who he is as a player.
I mean, you literally. I don't know. I'm not Dives. I don't have numbers I could just pull out of my ears. But the record when Lane Johnson isn't in the game,
staggering.
We're like a 30, a 300 win team. You know what I mean? Like that we're not great. He is so crucial to our success that it's honestly very scary to think of a life without Lane Johnson.
Or even Jason Kelsey. I mean,
years from now,
Cam Jurgens has been good so far, but there's such a deeper leadership quality, a knowledge of the game, a knowledge of he's like a second quarterback on the field, another coach, whatever you want to call it. And Lane, I think they find their right tackle of the future this year in the offseason and start letting them train under Lane for another couple of years because Lane pretty much put out there he's got another couple of years left in him. And I think I hit all the comments for there. Guys, reminder that sometimes things happen, and sometimes you get hurt at work, in a car accident, personal injury, criminal law. You go to David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300 or the cherryinjurylaw.com. That's right, cherryinjurylaw.com. If, like I said, life-altering moments, workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, cherryinjurylaw.com. Go to David R. Cherry and have him fight for your rights and your justice. That's right. Guys, thank you for joining us all night. It's a little longer. Franny is 18 years older than what he said he feels. Yeah, I know. He's my age. I went to school with
40,
Fran, so I know how old he is.
40
I know
is
how he is.
young. My God, I'll take 40.
Yeah, I was kidding around. Yeah, but guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Plenty of stuff going around here at EOP. Let me do this. I'll pull that up for you guys because even though it is Thanksgiving and it's a holiday week, and we're all gonna be enjoying it with our families as we hope you are. But we know there's times you're away from the family. We know you guys need to, you need to get a little love here. You can still come to EOP. We got you covered. Still plenty going on this Tuesday and Wednesday, even Thursday. Don't worry. In the morning, there's going to be a Fight and Final special. Myself, Maddie B, Mike Laro, and Pat Bernard will be having an 11 a.m. hot stove discussion, talk about the Phillies move in the offseason and what more could come, and a special 12:30 show of Fly Like an Eagle podcast with Michkowski. So we will even have stuff on Thursday. We'll have stuff for you on Friday, plenty on Saturday. And then we got another pre-half and post-game show because quick turnaround for the Eagles and Bills coming to Lincoln Financial. So big other AFC matchup. Bills coming off a big win this weekend. They needed it. Maybe they're supercharged now. Let's see how this all plays out for you. Joey Wood, any tell everybody where they can find you and any parting shots.
I'll be coming live from WrestleCade in North Carolina, so check that out on Steel Steps. But
wait, you guys gonna be live somewhere doing that?
I'll be in North Carolina doing it. But
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be going to North
Gotcha.
Carolina to cover WrestleCade for Edge of Philly site. Great weekend of wrestling. All the legendary wrestlers, Kane, Ric Flair, all the legendary wrestlers out there. Woo,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, but I appreciate you guys letting me come on tonight. Huge win. And one more thing, I want to say thank you to Dolphins for that infamous fumble of taking Deion Jordan over Lane Johnson when they had the slam dunk all those years ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, guys, check them out. Go to eopsports.com. Plenty of wrestling news up there. Steel Steps every Friday night. Plus, I think you guys are also, I didn't put it on the schedule because I didn't know until later, but you guys are also doing a Saturday Survivor Series post-game or post-match, whatever you guys want to call it.
Pay-per-view show, yeah, Saturday night.
Okay.
So check us out too.
Let's see, and a couple more here. Last comment: Edge of Philly's the best around. That's right, Joey Sheeran. Yes, we are. All of us here.
Great. Somebody get in after.
Yeah, and Sixers W tomorrow. Flyers go number 6 Wednesday. Yeah. We don't know what to do with this stuff with all this winning in town. Ryan, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm literally all over the place. I got shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you name it. This week kind of messed all that around, but tomorrow I'll be on Birds of the Round Table. Wednesday I'll be with Dives. We'll be doing our NFL draft prospect show where we'll be breaking down the top 10 edge rushers. So please make sure you check that out. But yeah, I'm all over the place. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can check me out all over the place on the Edge of Philly Sports doing my thing. And of course, you can always follow me right here on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling now these days. Do it up. Follow, like, share, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
click,
whatever.
subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever all of those buttons tell you to do, just follow it blindly and just hit them all.
Hit those little bells so you get the notifications.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds. Do it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, follow these guys. Honestly, if you absolutely want to get better at not only Philly sports, but I mean, this guy with all of the wrestling, is fantastic. We're all a big family here, so please support everybody. It means the world to us.
That's right. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Big AlleyOP. Guys, check out the website, always changing, some new improvements coming up on that. Go to www.eopsports.com or edgeofphilly.com, whatever's easiest for you to remember. Like Ryan said, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. A lot of things going on. Facebook just hit over 40,000 subscribers. YouTube's over 11,000 subscribers. Twitter, Instagram growing. TikTok, you name it, we're there. Things coming on night all the time. New articles out all the time. Actually, I dropped a new Phillies article, kind of bring you guys up to date on what's going on with the Phillies post or off season right now, and more to come, guys. So other than that, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Like I said, Eagles won 21-17, 9-1 on the season so far. Big quick turnaround Sunday afternoon game with the Bills coming up. So let's see if they can have a quick turnaround and keep the winning ways going. And we will talk about all that coming. Guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.